Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. Mikel Arteta has just decided he won't sell £50 million Arsenal player in January. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta has decided against selling Eddie Nketiah in the January transfer window. The Gunners are on the top of the Premier League table now after a good start to the season. They are definitely in the title race, and many feel a new striker needs to be signed in January to help them win the league. Nketiah has been linked with a move away from Arsenal as a result. Even though Eddie Nketiah is Arsenal's top scorer in the Premier League this season, the striker has come under a lot of criticism. Almost everyone who has watched the Gunners this term believes they need to sign a new striker in the January transfer window. Gary Neville went as far as calling Nketiah a number 3 striker, while Gabriel Jesus was also branded as a player only good enough to be the second choice. Nketiah has been heavily linked with a move away from Arsenal in January, with Brentford among clubs interested in signing him. 90-minute claimed recently that the Gunners would demand a fee close to £50 million to let him go. However, the Sun claimed this week that Mikel Arteta has decided against selling Nketiah next month. Arsenal reportedly believe he is a crucial part of the squad and will help them in their bid to win the Premier League title this season. Some of the criticism that has come Eddie Nketiah's way is slightly unfair. The Arsenal man is a very good striker and would get into many teams in the Premier League. However, at Arsenal, Nketiah is currently behind Gabriel Jesus in the pecking order, and even if that changes, he hasn't shown enough consistency to prove that he can score 15 or 20 goals a season. So if Arsenal can find a prolific striker who will guarantee them goals every other game, they should bring him in to have the best chance of going all the way in the title race. It will be interesting to see what will happen in January, but we feel keeping hold of Nketiah should not affect Arsenal's plans of signing a new striker. Pundit says £35 million player may now be a problem for Arsenal now. Robbie Earle has suggested that Oleksandr Zinchenko could become an issue for Arsenal after Saturday's draw at Anfield. Arsenal picked up a well-deserved point at Liverpool on Saturday evening after taking an early lead in the game. Gabriel Magalhaes opened the scoring for the Gunners in the 4th minute with a well-taken header, but their lead was relatively short-lived as Mohamed Salah produced a moment of magic just before the half-hour mark. The Egyptian winger made a brilliant run in behind the Arsenal backline and was picked out by Trent Alexander-Arnold, but Salah had it all to do as he was tracked by Oleksandr Zinchenko. Yet, Salah managed to beat Zinchenko far too easily before smashing the ball past David Raya at his near post. And following Saturday's 1-1 draw at Anfield, Robbie Earle has raised concerns about Zinchenko's place in Mikel Arteta's side. Speaking on the Two Robbies podcast, Earle argued with Robbie Mustoe over whether or not Arsenal are a better side this season. Earle stated that he believes Arteta's men are indeed a better team, despite their performances not being as convincing as they were last term, but the Pundit did raise concerns over Zinchenko while discussing Arsenal's side. He said, "The back two are better. Zinchenko, bit of an issue. They might need to worry about that. I think Havertz and Odegaard not playing particularly well, but better. They knew what they had to do. Why the players Martinelli and Saka are not quite on their game, but they are making sure they don't lose the game. Last year, they were losing these games when they weren't quite at it." Zinchenko did struggle against the threat of Salah down the right-hand side, with Craig Burley labeling his defending for the goal as poor. The Ukrainian defender enjoyed a brilliant debut campaign last time out. After a £35 million switch from Manchester City, he hasn't reached the same heights this time around, but he remains an integral part of the way Arteta sets his side up. The 27-year-old is often tasked with drifting into the middle of the park to provide an extra man in midfield. 11 million euros rated star with over 100 senior appearances already is Arsenal's Douglas Luiz alternative. It appears to be a foregone conclusion that Aston Villa won't sell Douglas Luiz to Arsenal in January, forcing the Gunners to look elsewhere for a replacement for Thomas Partey. The Ghanaian has been out of the picture through a mixture of injury and Declan Rice emergence at the North London outfit and is likely to have to find alternative employment in the new year. With Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta evidently trusting young players if they are good enough, a move for the 21-year-old Pablo Maya, reported by Football Transfers, makes sense. The Sao Paulo player is believed to be available for a cut price 11 million euros, which would represent a huge saving on a purchase of Luiz, who Villa want over £100 million, according to Football Insider. Football Transfers note that the Gunners have been monitoring Maya over the past few weeks and are close to making their move, though it's likely that he will be more of an understudy for Rice unless Arteta significantly changes his system. Maya's projection is such that he will provide the competitiveness that the Arsenal manager desires from all of his players. With that genuine competition for places across the squad, each player will push the other in their position, giving Arteta the perfect headache to have. Were he to prove as successful as might be expected, Maya's hire would represent another sound piece of business by the club. Arsenal and Liverpool will have to pay £60 million for a 28-year-old with 2 goals in 15 games. January could be quite an expensive month for Arsenal or Liverpool if they firm up any interest in one of their transfer target. Bayern Munich are also in the hunt for Fulham Joao Palinha after missing out on him in the summer. As Football Insider report, the Cottagers want in the region of £60 million for the 28-year-old who has managed 2 goals during the 23-24 campaign so far, per who scored. It's a big investment for a player who will be 29 before the start of next season, though his significant midfield presence and the rising prices in the marketplace could still mean that interested parties are getting themselves a bargain. From the player's point of view, it isn't clear at this stage which offer, if any, he'd prefer to accept, with all three clubs offering something different in terms of sporting excellence. If any move came down to the best financial offer, then anyone from three could be his next destination. Fulham will likely be rubbing their hands together at the possibility of an auction for Palinha's services, even though losing him from their squad would certainly weaken it. The window opens in just over a week, and then all three clubs will have 4 weeks to convince Fulham to sell at the price they wish to pay, and to convince Palinha that he can enjoy the next few years of his career with them. Chelsea or Arsenal will have to pay in the region of 130 million euros to prize Osimhen from Napoli, says Romano. He was never going to be a cheap hire, but Victor Osimhen's expected sale price from Napoli would likely set a new record for an English club, where either Chelsea or Arsenal to firm up their interest in the hitman. The 24-year-old Nigerian has long been coveted by some of Europe's biggest clubs, and no wonder. He already has 7 goals in 13 Serie A games in 23-24, despite being partly missing through injury per transfer market. That follows on from the previous 2 campaigns when he hit 14 in 27 Italian top-flight games in 21-22 and then a remarkable 26 in 32 matches last season as Napoli took the Scudetto for the first time since the Diego Maradona era. It's obvious why the Napoli president would be loath to lose him, so with that in mind, they have ensured they will get a best price for their striker by getting him to extend his contract until 2026. Romano said, speaking of contracts, Victor Osimhen's Napoli deal is also done. The documents have been signed and his contract has been extended from 2025 to 2026. One more season at Napoli, so not a long-term deal, but it will help Napoli to handle his future. The new deal doesn't necessarily mean he will still be at the club past next summer either. It just allows Napoli to set the bar financially rather than losing him for a fraction of what he is worth. Romano went on to add, Victor Osimhen still has a very good chances to leave the club in 2024. His release clause is in the region of 130 million euros, but not in January unless something completely crazy happens. Even at that price, there are sure to be many suitors, including the Premier League London rivals, for a player that's as close to a guarantee of goals in European football as it's possible to be at present. Romano concluded, the interest from Chelsea and Arsenal remains, and let's see if other clubs will join the race to buy the player next summer. Gabby Agbonlahor tells Arsenal to sell Emil Smith-Rowe and sign 27-year-old Premier League star now. TalkSport Pundit Gabby Agbonlahor has urged Arsenal to sell Emil Smith-Rowe and use that money to sign Ivan Toney in January. The Gunners are expected to be active in next month's transfer window. They are currently on top of the Premier League table, and a big addition in January could give them the push they need to win the title. Agbonlahor thinks Toney is the one Mikel Arteta should sign. Arsenal have been linked with a move to sign Ivan Toney for months now. The Brentford striker hasn't played at all this season following his ban for breaching betting rules. He will be allowed back in the middle of January and he could be on the move then. A number of pundits, including Gary Neville, have urged Arsenal to sign a new striker next month if they want to go all the way in the Premier League title race. Toney is many people's first choice, and Agbonlahor has now urged the Gunners to sell Emil Smith-Rowe and use that money to fund a move to sign the 27-year-old Brentford striker. He told TalkSport, I think what Arsenal need for Christmas is a goal-scoring striker. Some Arsenal fans say, oh, it's boring. We've got Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, Leandro Trossard, Eddie Nketiah, and Gabriel Jesus. We all share the goals. But what could they be doing? What could they get with another striker? What could they do with Ivan Toney in that team? How many goals would Arsenal score with Ivan Toney? These tight games they are winning with Toney in there. What could he do for that team? Can they sell Emil Smith-Rowe? The academy graduate has his own song, but he is not going to get in that team. Let's be honest. You've got good money sitting there with Smith-Rowe, sell Smith-Rowe, and use that money towards Ivan Toney. Go out and get him, because otherwise Chelsea or Spurs are going to get him, and you are going to regret it. Smith-Rowe is a magnificent talent. He can score goals, provide assists, play in a number of positions, and can dribble past people effortlessly. He has all the qualities you would want from an attacking midfielder, and if he stays fit, we are convinced he will become a star at Arsenal. If Arsenal want to sign Toney, they should, but not at the cost of losing a player as good as Smith-Rowe. Benjamin Sesko open to Premier League move in January with several clubs interested. 20-year-old RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko is interested in a January move to the Premier League. Sesko is being monitored by a number of Premier League clubs, including Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man United. 90 Minutes has reported that the towering striker is keen to join the Premier League after playing second fiddle to Lua Openda. After joining RB Leipzig from sister club RB Salzburg, Sesko has only started 3 Bundesliga matches from a possible 16. Most of his appearances for the club have come from the bench. Out of Leipzig's 6 Champions League matches this season, Sesko was only given the chance to start in 2 of them. The Slovenian striker has only one demand on the agenda, and that is more playing time. He is keen to lead the front line for his country at the upcoming Euro 2024. 90 Minutes report has suggested that the German club will be open to let Sesko go in a loan deal with an obligation to buy. Many scouts believe that the striker's playing style is heavily suited to the Premier League. Leipzig would ideally want to keep the striker as they try to challenge for the Bundesliga title along with Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern München. Some of the top Premier League clubs may well be in the market for a striker soon. Man United have struggled with goals this season, and their expansive signing of Rasmus Højlund has failed to deliver. Højlund is yet to get off the mark in the Premier League this season. Arsenal have the options of Gabriel Jesus and Eddie Nketiah up front, but both have failed to become prolific options for the Gunners' attack. If there is an opportunity of a transfer, Leipzig would stand to double the £20 million they paid for Sesko last summer. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.